Welcome back to the Daily Dope Show. So I guess this is another update on something. It's been a while since I've had to do a story about this because currently we are waiting to get the regulation package from the legislator. The last update I did on this story was that LaPage delayed sales of medical marijuana until February of 2018, but I'm not sure. I'm just going to go out on a whim and say that I thought he delayed it until July of 2019, of 2018. I don't know. Yeah, there we go. He called for delays until 2019, and they worked out the details of the regulation. So what's going on now? He vetoed the regulation package. So Republican Governor Paul LaPage, and this guy's. Every time I do this story, I got to remind people what a piece of shit this guy is. If you don't believe me, just Google him and read up on him, because I don't want to really go through the bullet list again. But he's really just the worst prohibitionist. He's one of the top 5 worst prohibitionists in the country. So he vetoed a bill passed by the legislature 11 days ago to regulate the retail sale of marijuana. The Maine legislature is set to return Monday to deal with any vetoes by LaPage. The bill that sets rules for sales and taxes on marijuana passed with a 2/3 majority in the Senate, but not in the House. And a 2/3 vote is what was necessary to override a veto. In a letter containing his veto statement, LaPage noted, quote, "The Obama administration said they would not enforce federal law related to marijuana. However, the Trump administration has not taken that position until I clearly understand how the federal government intends to treat states that seek to legalize marijuana. I cannot in good conscience support any scheme in the state to implement expansion of legal marijuana in Maine." So that's your nanny state fascism 101. Oh, I don't know what Uncle bigger government than me's gonna do. So to protect you, the poor little citizen that needs protection always, and that's why we have a drug war and a nanny state situation where there's a militarized police force that'll kick your door in and arrest you for using or growing marijuana and send you to prison, a place that should be reserved only for violent criminals. We're going to send you to prison even though your crime is literally the most victimless crime that there ever was. It shouldn't even be considered a crime because it isn't a crime. But yet somehow we need to protect you, and one of the ways we can protect you is protect you from the federal government trying to arrest you for doing something they say is wrong in my state, even though the people in the state want it to be legalized. It's kind of mind-bending. But if you're a Republican and you think that this is freedom right here, you're a fucking idiot. Republicans are always crowing about freedom and liberty. But what is freedom if you got your own governor that won't let you have the freedom because he's afraid of what big bad Uncle Sam's going to do? And forget about states' rights. LaPage, who's also a racist piece of shit, is probably big time for states' rights when it comes to things like gay marriage and abortion and fucking whether or not black and white couples can get married. Now, I don't know how he really feels about those issues, but I'm just saying that's the kind of typecast I'm feeling from this old 1950s Leave It to Beaver style fucker. But if you don't think that's fascism, sign up for it, please, because you don't really know what fucking fascism is. Or how about we just call it protectionism? Just coddling? I don't know. In his statement, LaPage referred to a conversation with Colorado's Governor Hickenlooper, saying Hickenlooper was adamant that Maine should learn from the mistakes made by his state and others that have pursued legalization efforts. Yeah, learn from the mistakes they made. Some of them were that they were trying to tax it too high at first and this and that. There was a few things that they ironed out. You know, educate people about marijuana not being toxic so they don't rush kids to the emergency room when they found out they ate a cookie or something. Like, there's a few things that they had to work out. You're right, but he didn't mean that you just throw the whole thing away. The baby with the bathwater, is that what you Republicans are always saying? Yeah, that's not what he said. He didn't say throw the baby out with the bathwater. In fact, I think Hickenlooper actually used that stupid fucking refrain to describe what you shouldn't do. You should legalize, just do it a little bit carefully or whatever. I don't know, that's not a word. He urged that we take the time necessary to get our law right from the start and not rush just to get something in place. Well, here's an idea. Since they've had a while to iron it out, why don't you just fucking look at what they got and copy it word for fucking word? I mean, Maine ain't much different than Colorado. It's just a bunch of lumberjacks and fucking people that are cold as hell because it always snows mostly. I don't know. I mean, come on, man. Think about it, LaPage. You got Colorado and Washington. They're two kind of different legalization platforms. Look at them, see which one you like, and go from there. Quit acting like this has never been done before. You know what? And the funny thing is prohibitionists always act like we got to do it the right way. No one ever said that when you started fucking saying, oh, you know what? Here's the right way. Let's just arrest anybody we can for marijuana and throw them in jail. Nobody ever said maybe you should try to do that the right way, did they? And instead, when Republicans get control of it, they just make it wronger every time. They make penalties harsher. They make fucking, well, Bill Clinton did that. But anyway, yeah, they don't like legalization, Republicans. They fucking hate it. LaPage also cited recent statistics about marijuana-related traffic deaths have increased in the years since November 2012, when Colorado voters approved the ballot measure to legalize recreational sales. Sales of the use of cannabis started a little less than 14 months later in January of 2014. So if you look at what he, you know, was looking at, the only thing that everybody in the prohibition team ever looks at is the Rocky Mountain high-intensity drug trafficking area fucking reports. So we don't believe those, but he's going to believe those. He's not going to believe the real numbers that come out. He's just going to believe that. Friday was the last day for LaPage to veto his bill, as well as one delaying implementation of ranked choice voting. His other options were to sign the bill into law or let it become law without his signature. Well, he went one step further and just vetoed this shit, because that's the only way it wouldn't have became law. The Maine Marijuana Project called on lawmakers to override the governor's veto, the Associated Press reported. The group said legislators should allow marijuana sales likely in 2019. Governor LaPage has made a mistake by vetoing this legislation. Instead of a regulated and controlled system of marijuana cultivation and sales, Maine will continue to support the unregulated market, said David Boyer, political director of the Marijuana Advocacy Group. A group opposed to the bill, Smart Approaches to Marijuana, of course, praised the governor for vetoing the, quote, flawed bill. Quote, this bill has gaping holes with respect to youth access and public safety. Oh, man. Sam, you're always the dumbest fuckers in the whole argument. You know what else has gaping holes with respect to youth access and public safety? The fucking black market, you idiot. There's no regulations at all. So anybody can sell to anybody. That means I can sell to a 10-year-old kid. And public safety is basically like I can sell marijuana laced with fentanyl to a 10-year-old kid. That's what the fucking black market is. You guys complain about, you know, all the things that could be dangerous about weed, but usually it's just because it's unregulated. So, you know, the bill is what it is. It might not be the best bill in the world. I haven't read it, so I probably will read it and think it's the worst bill in the world, because I always think that anytime you write rules about marijuana, it's fucking disingenuous and stupid, because marijuana is not dangerous. You can't put it in the schedule of the CSA, because the CSA is for drugs that are potentially dangerous, like you could hurt yourself by doing them too much, or they're addictive as fuck. And since marijuana is neither of those, why is it even on the schedule in the first place? So you got this whole thing, like you're talking about youth access and public safety, and you don't even look at alcohol. I mean, alcohol it got to the point where it was so bad that, you know, public safety was the reason why they had to end prohibition. Because out on the streets, when you buy alcohol from the unregulated market, you don't know what the fuck you were getting. You were getting poisoned because people were making moonshine out of old fucking engine cooling systems. The government was poisoning the underground alcohol just to try to discourage people from drinking. And it's just all over, you know, dangerous. You're talking about alcohol, which is already toxic. So your arguments always contradict themselves. Always, Sam. You're just shitty at doing arguments when it comes to marijuana. And that's your whole premise for existence. We now call on Maine lawmakers to do the right thing and sustain the veto, said Sam Chairman Scott Gagnon. You know what you can do, Scott Gagnon? You could go fuck yourself. Because I'm pretty sure the legislation in Maine isn't on board with this crazy prohibitionist bullshit that LaPage is on. So hopefully they'll do the right thing and override this bullshit if they can. I'm not sure what's going on, but whatever. In October, LaPage had called for the legislature to delay sales until 2019 when they worked out the details of the regulation. It has been legal to possess and grow marijuana in the state since February 1st, but in late January, the legislature delayed sales until February 1st, 2018. Maine voters narrowly voted to legalize marijuana for recreational use a year ago. The vote was so close that there was a 2-day recount. Yeah, we know. I did stories about all this bullshit. In January, when LaPage was signing the voter-approved referendum, he said he remained skeptical of whether it was wise for the state to implement legalized marijuana for recreational use. He basically says whatever he wants and whatever his donors tell him to say. So, Polly Washburn, thanks for the article. Yeah, LaPage is he's just a piece of shit. He's got to go. How does he keep getting power? I thought Maine was kind of a laid-back place. Like, why would you want this authoritarian dick prohibitionist to be your fucking governor? Did he promise somebody a tax break or something? Like, what is it about these Republicans where they win the governorships in states that don't really seem like they're all that right-wing? And then they do all these really crazy right-wing things and no one's really saying anything about it. And by the way, man, how fucking bad is it, Mr. LaPage, that even your own party now, the Republicans, even more Republicans now want marijuana to be legalized than don't. I mean, the people that say don't legalize it are only like 37% of Republicans now. 51% say legalize it. So you gotta fucking stop, dude. Let your people do their thing. And by the way, remember, it's been legal to possess and grow marijuana in the state since February. So if I lived in Maine and I like marijuana, I think I'd figure out how to grow a little bit of it. I'm pretty sure they only let you grow a little bit of it. So get your shit together and grow some weed. Because you're probably not going to like the regulations when they come out anyway. Might as well get used to growing your own weed now. That's all I got to say. If you like what's going on over here at the Daily Dope Show, go ahead and hit that subscribe button.